Hello, my Vibe Tribe, and welcome to the Daily Vibe. You may notice a bit of a change, but it was much needed for sure. Happy Wednesday. I'm gonna save the other part of that Wednesday for baby sibling because she absolutely loves it. But how is everybody on Wednesday? Good morning, older sibling. So, as per usual, I'm just gonna run these by you guys until someone comes on. Good morning, baby sibling. It's hump day. Hump day. I saved that one just for you. It's hump day. I'm gonna try to make this quick. So, okay, let's see. This one came out, flew right out of the deck. Pineapple, be cool. Be cool. Be a pineapple, stand tall, wear a crown, and be sweet on the inside. Yeah. Life is hard. Life is hard. Life can be crazy sometimes, but it's perspective, how we handle it. Take deep breaths. All the things. Oh, and here's another one. Too rad to be sad. Okay, I actually wrote that one. I know, right? How high school. Too rad to be sad. What other people think of you is not your business. Be your rad self, all right? So those are those for this morning. Let's just jump right into it. It is Self-Care Wednesday. Oh, thank you, baby sibling. She was complimenting my hair. She said, life is hard is an understatement of the day. It is. I know. I mean, I don't know, but I know because we just talked. And it's funny because I'm going to start with the New Orleans card today. I have some mindful messages pulled for Self-Care Wednesday. But I'm going to start with this one, and it is Let Loose. Okay, it's Mardi Gras, Let Loose, the beautiful costume and the masks and the beads and everything. It's just a joyous, happy, amazing time. And I'm going to read from this book because I don't want to get this one wrong because it really is straight from the book. Everyone knows that Mardi Gras is the celebration of all celebrations. If this card has shown up in your reading, that means it's time to let loose and forget all the obligations that have been plaguing you, even if just for a few hours. Your ability to experience fulfillment and enjoyment in the moment has been compromised due to overthinking, managing life's obligations, and experiencing a lack of joy in your day-to-day life. This current imbalance has started to affect your generally positive outlook, and it is time for some revitalization. Cut loose, even if just a little, and see how much it positively affects your energy and overall outlook today. So I like that one. I literally pulled that about 20 minutes ago. And, normally I don't look at them, but something in my brain was saying, you need to check this one out first, and you need to do it first. So, there you go. So, let's get rolling. Mindful messages. One of the first things I wanted to cover about self-care. Self-Care Wednesday is kind of going to just embody and encompass self-love, self-worth, self-respect. I'm going to sidetrack here for a moment. I have a funny feeling that card was for you since I pulled it. I'm not going to say who. If you're in the comments, you can probably see it later. But, because it's very ironic. Or not even ironic. It's very non-coincidental that card popped up today. So, deep breaths. Breathe in the positive, breathe out the negative. I know it's hard. I can't even imagine having to go through some of the things that people have to go through. But I empathize and I send all the good stuff out there. Okay, sorry. Look at me. I'm supposed to do all that in the makeup chair. This is the makeup chair. So we're a low budget production, people. So anyways, I was talking with a friend on Facebook, and is one of my friends in England, and he goes into his he calls it the Oh Grumpy Vault because he'll point out different things that people do, and one of the things I've noticed about myself is that I tend to talk very, very fast. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm doing the vibe or if it's because in Southern California, I don't know about Northern California, but In Southern California, we have a tendency to speak very quickly. New Yorkers have a tendency to, or at least in New York City, just get to the point, move on your way, because people are busy. And sometimes people don't understand us because we talk so fast. But I was noticing for a couple of days now, we heard it on the news, older sibling and I. And so when I've been in the car, I've been listening to Channel 104 on Sirius XM, and it's Lucille Ball. And it's kind of like, I want to say kind of like the precursor to podcasts, but she would just go, I mean, she's a celebrity at the time. It was 1964. And, she was already she was a star. I mean, she was always kind of a star, right? I mean, it's Lucille Ball. But, she knew a lot of people, and so she would go out there and interview a lot of people. And it was just very amazing. And what I noticed the most was how they articulate when they talk, how everything is proper. They choose the correct words, they don't have fillers, but, and that's natural. I think for me, a lot of it is just because I still get a little nervous doing these, I mean, I am literally doing this off the cuff. I have no script. So a lot of times it's just my brain trying to say, hey, you know what? Let's think of something here. Okay. But I think first and foremost, what I wanted to get to is one of the things of self-care is doing something you love, even if it's just for a minute of the day, even if it's just for a few minutes of the day, doing something you love. So I love to write. Now I notice when I write, I actually articulate a lot better. So I want to start talking or speaking the way that I write. Now, the funny thing is about that conversation is I told my friend, I said, I need to come back for a visit. So, you and Cheryl, his wife, can get me back, can get me back into his proper speaking form. And his comment to me was, you were British at heart. Best compliment of the day. Best compliment ever. So I was very, very happy about that. But, but find something that makes your heart sing and try to implement it into your life anywhere in your day, whether you're waking up or whether you're sleeping or going to sleep. Obviously you can't do things in your sleep. Well, some people do, but they don't realize it. So what's the point? But, just try to find something that gets your heart singing and find at least 5 minutes in the day to do that. If it's listening, if it's reading a book, listen to it in the car when you're on your way to somewhere, if it's writing, take a few moments in the morning or, schedule a little bit of time in your day. It doesn't have to be an hour. It can be a few minutes. Mindful breathing, mindfulness, centering yourself, whatever things you want to learn. Maybe take a class. I mean, know that, it might be hard to fit into your day, but you can put it way in the evening or way in the morning. Just everybody gets a lunch break. Well, most people do. So I guess what I'm trying to say is for me, I'm going to start working on my speech and speaking a little bit slower. That is going to be a feat in itself for me. But I think what I'm trying to get at is try something new. Also, just go out there and remind yourself that life isn't just about responsibilities. We can have fun doing the things that we need to do. We can have fun doing what it is we want to do. It's really about perspective. It's how we look at things. Life can be hard. I don't know other people's lives. Baby sibling has it rough because, she's a single parent, and not by choice. Older sibling has it rough because she has CRPS, RSD, and this weather right now is it's completely affecting her. I mean, there's not a lot that she can go out and do. Everybody has something in their life that might be holding them back, that might be, just putting them kind of in the passenger seat of the car instead of the driver's seat. So you're just kind of existing through life and not really enjoying it, because you don't get to call the shots. So take your power back and tell life, suck it, and that you are taking your power back and you are going to live your life the way you want to live it and the way you need to live it. Okay, so I don't know if that made any sense to anybody, but kind of flew out of my mouth. So whoever wanted that message out there, it's out there now. So the subconscious mind. Number 1, we have 5 of these. I realize that subconscious beliefs or programs may be holding me back from my desires. For example, if I want money, I may have been told things growing up that I am subconsciously holding on to. So I go back to my past and release beliefs that no longer align, substituting with ones that do. What this card is telling you is you have to uncondition yourself to the negative thinking that you may have grown up around. It's not always easy. It does take practice. For some people, they can just do it like that. I'm impressed by those people. I am in awe of those people, but I am not one of those people. It takes practice for me to untrain my brain from negative things. And it could just be negative things that you put on yourself. It could be negative thoughts that you just have floating around in your mind that just come out and kind of, they bully your positive thoughts. So try to retrain your subconscious mind. Try to remind yourself that this too shall pass, that this is a moment in your timeline. Okay, it is a moment in your timeline. And if you need to take the time to just breathe, or to grieve, or to cry, or to laugh, or whatever emotion is coming up at the moment, please don't force it down. Let it come out. It has to come out. If it doesn't, it gets pushed down, it gets pushed down, it gets pushed down until it explodes. And then it becomes a little bit more uncontrollable than if you would just if you just drove through. We'll just say drove through that emotion. Okay. If you just went with the flow. Unique lives. Hey, we had this one yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I respect everyone's individual decisions and way of life. We are each on our own unique journeys, and my way isn't the only way. My job is not to change others, but simply to love them. That was yesterday. You can't change people. It's, that old saying, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can lead people towards the light, but you can't make them shine in it. You can't make them bask in it. You can't make them step into it either. So sometimes you just have to let them go through what they're going through. But what I want to advise people is don't live there. Don't live there. Don't throw your anchor. Please don't throw your anchor. It's not worth it. And it just takes, it takes that much longer to get out of that rut. Okay. Your guidance system. I like that. I love using my emotions as a guidance system. They show me how close or far away I am from what I want. When I am feeling joy and doing the things I love, I am in a state of allowing for my desires. I notice when I am feeling low vibrational thoughts and shift them to release resistance. What did I just say? Seriously, what did I just say? I just said this in my own words. But follow your spidey instincts. If you're be in a state of allowing for your desires. When you are feeling low vibrational thoughts, shift them to release that resistance. Releasing that resistance is exactly what I was talking about. It's like a volcano. The pressure builds and builds and builds until poof, it's out there. So, doing our best. I like that with the headband and everything. Doing our best. We are all doing our best with the understanding and awareness we have in this moment. Any decision I take is okay, no matter the outcome. I make the best of any situation and learn as I go along. This used to be a very interesting topic in this household. As you know, my roommate is also an older sibling. But I say this because she's like, well, I'm doing the best I can. And for me, because I was projecting at the time, I wasn't able to do the best I can. So I was trying to make everybody else be the best who they could be because I didn't like myself. I was not comfortable in my own body. I was not comfortable in my own brain. And so I would say, well, I'm sure you could do better. How rude, right? Rude. But everybody does do the best they can every day. But here's my second thought on that. Sometimes we settle for the status quo. We allow life to take our power from us. We let situations and moments in our life remove what power we have over them. And then we just decide that, well, this is the best I can do today, so I'm not going to try to do anything else. And I guess that's where I was trying to come from. But I had to learn that first. I had to learn that myself. But also, some people are just doing the best they can every day. For some people, it takes everything they have to get out of bed. So you kind of have to know, you have to watch your step with who you're talking to. Because if you're talking to someone who is just like out there all the time, la la la, la, I'm doing the best I can, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I couldn't even get out of bed today. They're probably struggling with something. So just give them a break, okay? Some people have, medical issues that don't allow them to do what you consider to be what could be their best. But you just, again, it's like it's the unique lives all over again. You have to let them figure it out for themselves. You cannot figure it out for themselves. If they choose to be lumps on a log, that's their choice. You can try to help them and say, hey, let's go do this, let's go do that, but you cannot make them go. But if they choose not to go anyway. Go have fun. I've just restarted my whole late night drives thing, and it's been a while, and I still haven't really kind of retraced the steps that Sissy and I used to do, which were really kind of my favorite drives, but I'm getting there. I am moving in that direction, and I'm reminding myself that, I don't want to just be a lump on the log, but I wasn't doing the best I could, and I knew it. And when you know it, then you know it. So now I'm trying to. But again, if somebody says, look, I'm doing the best I can today, just leave them be, okay? If you pray, pray. If you good juju people, good juju them. If you, send energy or do the Reiki or all these things, do that for them. Show them that, you do care. You don't have to tell them. You can do this. Most of the time, people are going to be receptive to your positive vibes. They're just struggling on their own. So be patient, okay? The better it gets. A cloud with a smiley face. Does not get any better than that. When things happen that cause me to feel good, I know there are much more good feeling things coming my way. The better it gets, and I keep rising up. I feel like I read that wrong. The better it gets. When things happen that cause me to feel good, I know there are much more good feeling things coming my way. The better it gets, and I keep... You know what? I don't think the and belongs in there. The better it gets, I keep rising up. I don't know. It's not flowing, but it's okay. But yeah, the better it gets, I keep rising up. So the better it gets, keep rising. When you hit that moment where it's just hard, don't stop letting yourself rise. Just take a moment and then keep going. Okay, so I'm trying to decide. I think I'm going to put subconscious mind in the comments today. I think that would be the perfect one. But just try to keep going. I know self-care is not the easiest things. I don't know if you can see those. Sammy gave me those. So thank you, Sammy, for those. And she made me this one, the Glow with the Flow. But, sorry. I know I'm a bit lost for words. Self-care has not always been my strong suit. Okay, it has not always been an easy thing for me. I think a lot of times we try to ignore ourselves because we don't want to feel, because we don't want to have these emotions come forth, and they hurt. They can be painful. They can be hard to deal with. But the only way to heal and the only way to get yourself to self-care is to feel those things, is to go through those emotions, is to go with the flow and ride that storm out. It's not easy, and but it doesn't have to be as hard as we make it sometimes. Don't be a volcano. Okay, just don't be a volcano. Volcanoes, they do create new life, but what I'm saying is don't build all that pressure to the point where you have to, it becomes destructive before it creates something new. If you just kind of go with that flow and ride that tide, you're not going to have to deal with all the emotions that you keep shoving down and down and down. And interestingly enough, a lot of times those things come out in the weirdest places. There could be something that you could have cared less about, but then all of a sudden you're sitting there and it's just like you're mad at it and you hate it. And again, nobody cared about it beforehand. Nobody gave any thought to it. You never gave any thought to it, but then suddenly it's something that bothers you. I think that's what this whole virus thing has done. Now, I don't want to go sideways and I don't want to lose anybody, because I know everybody has a different thought on this virus that's going around, but I personally think it's Mother Nature punishing us for being a bunch of rotten assholes on this planet. But think about it, think about how many times that, even with politics, right? You have your right, you have your left. Now, or you're conservative and you're liberal, whichever, because I know every country is different in how they express their different people. But you have all these people who are so far to one end and so far to another end that they don't realize that there's a lot of the same people right in the middle on both sides who are sitting here and chatting and discussing and, just saying, hey, if we could just get these two sides, and I'm going way off the screen here because you kind of have to for this one. If we could get all of them to come together and maybe talk without fighting and maybe listen to one another, they might actually see that they have a lot more in common than they believe. But everybody puts a party on something. Everybody thinks that, because somebody sits under one party that they have no clue what they're talking about. Well, that's because you're listening to the politician. So immediately, if you go down the string of, people and you get to someone who might be affiliated with that party, you suddenly think, oh, well, you just assume that they think like somebody else, like they think like their party leader. That's not always the case. And yes, I agree, Deborah. Oh, hi. Hi, Deborah. She's right. Fear stops the left and the right from hearing each other. I don't just think it's fear, though. I also think it's ego and bullheadedness. Nobody wants the other one to be more right than they are, or more correct than they are. Instead of coming together and collaborating, everybody wants the glory. Everybody wants my name on it, this name on it. I want my name to be first. Who fucking cares where your name goes? Just come together already. But I think that's what this virus has done. This virus has kept a lot of people in their homes, and they've had to start facing who they are. They couldn't go out there and socialize with people to ignore it. They couldn't go out into the world and ignore everything, every emotion that was trying to arise in them that may have been untouched or untapped. That's why people are acting feral now, because they don't know how to deal with their emotions. Yes, Deborah says, but don't you think they hold on so tight because they're afraid to let go and agree with others? I do think that. And I think the problem is we put so much on party that, and this is just my opinion, guys. This is just my opinion. But a lot of times I think we put so much on party that we forget that people do have good things to say. No matter what side you're on. There are people in the middle from each of those sides that just want to talk, that want to make things work. But it always seems to be some kind of, volleyball game. It always seems to be some kind of, tennis match where everyone's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But, you can have a tie, but then you have to go to the tiebreaker, right? Yes, she's not wrong. People do that with religion as well. Now, I don't normally like to talk politics and religion, but I know religious people and I know non-religious people. As many people know that I have mentioned in the past, I grew up in that kind of a home. I grew up with a father who walked away from religion and a mother who truly, truly embraced hers. And, it was a very interesting upbringing because, you get perspective. And that's kind of where I feel, Sibling and I, we're not in the same parties, but we think very much alike. And we have a lot of friends that are on both sides. We have a lot of friends that steer way to the opposite ends of both parties. And we have a lot of friends who are towards the center. And we have a lot of friends that are kind of in the middle of the center and being way out there. And we like Deborah says, we either ignore the conversation because it is something you do not talk about over dinner unless you are with like-minded people, or unless you really want to get into a debate with somebody. But the only thing I will say about religion is I don't like how people hide behind the Bible when they're afraid to embrace something that's new or change. Now, I know that's unfair. That's probably very controversial of me to say. But I think tying this into self-care, how bad is it when we work on our self-care, our self-love, our self-worth, and then we go out and we fight with somebody about politics or religion? Is that really working on your self-care? Or is that just an emotion that you have coming out? I have learned to bite my tongue in many situations now. I've learned to just kind of hold back on what I think because it's not worth it. You have to pick your battles, right? Thank you, Deborah. Deborah agrees with me. But sometimes the truth does hurt. And it's hard to face the truth. But if we're going to get back into a society where we're not all acting like feral people, I strongly suggest that you start digging deep and going within. Find out why you're acting out. Do the work, do the journaling. If you need therapy, get the therapy. There's no shame in going to therapy. Okay, a lot of people still put a stigma on us, and for fuck's sake, I don't know why. Yes, it is expensive. If you have insurance, go through the insurance. There are apps online. There are counseling places that will either charge you on a sliding scale or won't charge you at all. There are groups you can join of like-minded people to just chat things out. I mean, when you think about it, AA for people, right? I mean, I get this because I love watching the show Mom, and it's no longer on the air, but all the reruns are. But stop and think about it, right? Overeaters Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, Al-Anon, which is for loved ones of alcoholics. That's therapy for that. That's group session. That is group therapy. These are a bunch of like-minded people on different levels of recovery and getting better, helping others who are either new or who are still struggling and aren't new. That was the great thing about Mom. They showed people constantly falling back on bad habits and then trying to get better, and then the cycle they go through because they stigmatize themselves. Now, I'm not telling you what to choose. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling people. I'm trying to put it out there. Positivity and self-care only go hand in hand when you are willing to do the work. When you are willing to step out of your comfort zone and say, look, you know what? There are things I need to face in my life that I didn't want to face. I have been there. I have survived it. I have gone from surviving to thriving. Okay? Again, I have gone from surviving my traumas to thriving in the life that I am trying to create for myself now. Don't put an age limit on yourself, guys. Okay? Don't put an age limit on yourself. I am in my 40s, and I used to think, oh my God, I'm so far behind where I should be. Nobody's going to want anybody my age. Nobody's going to every negative thought I could possibly think. And you know what? Whoever gets me, they're going to be lucky. And I'm saying that from a place of self-love. I was told that years ago by a lot of different people. Whoever ends up with you is going to be so lucky, Shelly Marie. And imagine, that was the Shelly Marie who was struggling. I like to think I'm so much farther now because I took the time to work on myself. So whatever people end up in my life, whether it's romantic or new family, because I'm discovering a lot of new family, or new friends, or, whatever it is, I can start to give them the best of myself. That doesn't mean I don't get cranky. I can still be a bitch. Okay? But if I'm being a bitch to you, you need to ask yourself why. All right? And that's the same for other people. If somebody's being a bitch to me, I need to ask myself why. If, I'm kind of being an asshole and someone's giving it back to me. But if somebody's being a bitch to me and I'm not doing anything, that's when you stop, you take a deep breath, and you say, you know what? do you want to talk? Because sometimes people don't know how else to ask for help than by lashing out. And I used to be that way. And if it wasn't for a very special angel in my life, who I call older sibling, I would have never, ever gotten better. She helped destigmatize mental health for me. She went through it all her life. She always gives me permission to talk about her life. This is a girl who tried to commit suicide several times, survived it, and then kicked herself because she felt like she couldn't even do that right. And you know what? I'm glad you got that wrong. Because if it wasn't for you, I would still be struggling. Because I needed someone to stop and put the mirror up in front of my face. Ooh, it's going to make me cry now. And she did that for me. And I will appreciate that. And Deborah, who I hope is still on, her and I had a wonderful talk during her birthday celebration. And I had no idea that she watched The Vibe. I didn't. You know, she's not always on at the same time, so she'll watch it on the replay. And some of the things that she told me was just amazing. There are a lot of times when I want to quit because I just don't think I'm reaching anyone. And then out of nowhere, someone will pop up and say, hey, you know what? I really liked your vibe. And it's like, wait, what? You watched it? You know? And she just told me, she's like, we have to figure out how to make this make you money. And I don't know if it ever will, but the fact that somebody actually cared enough to put that thought out into the universe, into the world for me, meant everything. And that kept me going. We almost didn't make it to the first year of the Daily Vibe, guys, but we did. And I attribute that to Deborah. I really do. She helped kind of re-spark that flame that I have for doing this. So, that's sweet. I think she's talking to Laura. She says, you are too wonderful to not be here with and for the rest of us. And, you know, it's true. And I know I got a little teary-eyed, but I think it's because, you know, it's not just because I have a lot of emotions about how much Laura Dayton has done for me, or Laura McNair, that's her maiden name, has done for me. But when I think back to how I used to be and I see where I'm at now, hands down, I am a much different person. And it's not because I changed. It's because I became who I was always meant to become. I just started stepping out of my own way. And I had people helping me and opening the doors for me. And because I learned to trust her, I learned to trust a lot of people around me. I told you guys a few weeks ago when my dad and I were we're talking about my depression. And when he says, I really wish I could understand what you're going through, that meant the world to me, because a lot of people don't. I don't want him to understand what I go through, because unless you have it, unless you struggle with a dinged up mental health or any kind of mental issue, you were not ever going to understand. You can come close and you can try to empathize, but the fact that somebody actually took the time to think about it and say, you know what, I wish I could understand, that, like I said to you guys last week, was the same. It was the equivalent of I love you, my child, to me. So go out there, take care of yourselves. If somebody says something you don't agree with, stop, take a deep breath, okay? It's not worth the fighting, at least for today. Just for today. No fighting. No fighting. All right? It's the Reiki principles. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will be grateful. Just for today, I will do my work honestly and diligently. And just for today, I will be kind to all living things. Okay? If someone's trying to push your buttons, be grateful that you have friends that push your limits and remind you what you are made of. Okay? So, I hope everybody has a happy, happy Wednesday. Hump day. And, oh, gosh, we almost forgot the Rebel deck. Can't forget that one, because that's a good one. Let's see. It's dark and you can't see a fucking thing. Get your head out of your ass pronto. There you go. How does... I love the Rebel deck. It always seems to fit the moment, doesn't it? It's dark and you can't see a fucking thing. Get your head out of your ass pronto. Okay, get your head out of your ass pronto. Start seeing the world around you. Start dealing with your emotions so you don't become somebody on TV that's gone viral for being a dick on an airplane or anywhere else, okay? Come on, people. Being feral is for animals or children raised by wolves in the forest, okay? It is not meant for people who are social, who know how to exist on the daily. This is just a blip in our timeline. Does it suck? Yes, it does suck. But it's perspective. I took this entire year to find myself and to remind myself who I am, what I'm made of, and who I can be. So, go out there. Do you, okay? I will see. Oh, thank you, Deborah. She's so sweet. Oh, and you just touched my soul too. Thank you. That was very, very sweet. And brightened my day. So, again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I will see everyone back here tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Facebook Live. Okay, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And thank you for watching The Daily Vibe.